Greetings, shalom. Well, everyone knows what day it is, but in truth, it's, at least where I'm at, it's night, and people don't know what night is. The world doesn't know what night really is. The darkness, the deep pit, the world, Egypt that is dark, a darkness you can feel, we read, a darkness that the Father puts on Egypt that can be felt. It's so strong. But the world must celebrate and do what it does, knowing not what it does with its works and heart, not seeking the Creator ever on any day ever, believing and knowing that it already knows all things and good and evil, as the serpent said that man would believe and do. You shall know good and evil, and you shall be like Elohim. And elsewhere we read, you shall be like the Most High. And this is the rebellion. This is the man of sin, the God-man sitting in that temple, replacing the Creator with self as being the Creator in its mind and heart. It's working in its own ways with pride. It dictates, it judges everything and others with this kind of condemning, wicked judgment, thinking that it's God Almighty. It determines something. It's the judge of the earth. That's what Adam and Eve are. And it came to mind here. Let's see, things about the new creation, the new man in Messiah. In contrast to the old man, the first man, which we read and have in the description of a few verses and some writing in there, and that the first creation is not what man needs to be. Adam is the first man, that literally the first man representing that first natural man, carnal, in carnality, a sinner that can't do the Creator's will and keep his commandments. So easily deceived and falling into sin, both Adam and Eve. In the prophecy right from the beginning, he declares the end from the beginning, that the devil's works would be crushed underfoot through that man, through that line, that seed who is Messiah. And anyone of Messiah and of the Father, they are of the spiritual seed of Abraham. And the natural seed has been completely exposed, and it means nothing because the flesh profits nothing. It means nothing, a literal bloodline, in contrast to the truth for what that always meant and represented, not its own self, for what darkness means, which is what the Father has to give for every word for what it means and learn it. Otherwise, we'll never know. And there is a lot. There is a lot of commandments and laws, and they're all one. And he has to write them in our heart like we read for the new covenant. In the mind and heart, he will write the law in his people, his mind and heart. He will write it, not some heretic looking to screw people and deceive people for its own self-gain, not man on earth. No, but the Creator himself will write it and do it. Denial of self is required, as Messiah denied himself to do his Father's will. And we read that he said, your Elohim, my Elohim. My Elohim, your Elohim. My God, your God. No different than anybody else, in that the Creator is someone's Elohim and Creator, just as it is someone else as Messiah. And this is blasphemy to the church world. This is blasphemy to religion and to the Pharisees and Sadducees of the modern day, because there's nothing new under the sun, just different skins and coats and covers. That heart's the same. It's just a different deception for a cover, a slightly different image and trick. But nothing has changed within man. Nothing has changed in the world concerning works of the heart, real things. It's exactly the same. And if anything, it's waxed worse. It's gone worse because that is the end of that way is death, and it waxes worse and worse if it's not seeking the Creator and receiving life from Him to do His will and not self's will. Every individual will wax worse and worse, become worse and worse spiritually, even more destroyed, more of a sinner, more in rebellion, more hardened. And the whole world, as a world prophecy, is doing that and has been doing that until it destroys itself, because the snake eats its own tail to survive. A foolish contradiction, severe stupidity and evil to want to save self-soul, which causes a bad death, destruction, devouring self. That's what someone will do if they sin, if they do evil, murder someone with the heart. They want to devour themselves. That's the judgment. No one can touch it. It's set. It's in stone. It might as well be in stone in heaven. The Creator's laws and judgments do not change. Whoever wants to destroy someone, they themselves will be destroyed. They can count on it. And through a lot of patience, that judgment comes back, often a little later, for any given massive evil someone does. He determines that, not some man on earth that's lying, cheating, killing, stealing, destroying for self-gain. Messiah, the mediator of the new covenant, something like Moses being the mediator of the old, which is of self's works and self-righteousness, the outward man, the carnal man, only able to see the commandments and all his word through the letters, through its natural corrupt mind that doesn't see anything at all except the outward image. As you carve something in stone, you could see it on the outside, but it's not inside at all. To get to the inside of a giant boulder, you'd have to break it. There's no other way. You have to destroy it because there's no saving a stone. It just needs to be dashed to pieces with a rod of iron. That's what needs to happen to get it inside a soft, moldable heart, like we read, replacing the stony heart, with the soft, moldable heart that's teachable, correctable, something that it never was before, ever, at any time, concerning real works and real things in the heart. It can only create the image of looking like it's correctable. No, it can't actually do that work. No, it can't. Because the carnal mind is at enmity and at full-blown war with the Creator, despising Him and His way and all that's good, with an un-Elohimly satanic wrath, the wrath of the devil against all truth, against the Creator, Messiah, and His people, because they are all one. And they do hate Messiah's people, the world, and the enemy. But when Messiah says it's not you who they hate, that's to bring out that they hate the Father first, and it's not about us. It's not because self is good or better than anyone. That's why Messiah teaches that. The world cannot hate you. We can go and find other words Messiah taught that teaches the world will hate you. Could read it right in front of someone's face in religion. The world will hate you, will persecute you. You will have tribulation. And then Messiah is saying the world cannot hate you, but it hates you. But it hates the Father first. That's why it hates you. It's not about self being better in pride or unique in a prideful, wicked way. It's that they hate the Creator from the beginning, and His way, and all righteousness, all truth, anything that's actually good. It's the hate for the Creator, then therefore hating Messiah. and therefore hating his people because they are one. These three are one. The sun, the moon, and the stars are one in heaven, not on earth. There is no light on earth except those that are from above, shining a light on earth, but it doesn't come from earth. The heavens are above, and they are lights, not globe balls out there spinning where some crazy man in a rocket ship going thousands and thousands of miles per hour goes and lands. So if you go straight up forever, does the nose hit the moon, or does the bottom of the rocket hit the moon first? If you go straight up to the moon, like you picture a rocket, does the nose hit the moon first, or does the thrust, the bottom of the rocket, hit the nose first? Well, if that question sounds stupid, it's because it's talking about something stupid that isn't right or true. If the question is genuinely stupid, it's asking and speaking about something that's stupid. That I have found to be true and tested it to be true with anything and everything. It's not about saying don't ask questions. Oh, you can't ask a stupid question. Not about that at all. There's nothing wrong with asking a genuine question without evil intent. It's just that it's true. If it's truly stupid, it's questioning something stupid. Because I don't know how he does this. It goes down the line in judgment. With one lie, it has to be another lie to cover that lie, and the second lie is bigger and worse than the first, and the third is worse than the second and bigger than the second, and the fourth is worse and bigger than the third, and the fifth is bigger than the fourth. And every time it has to cover, when it has to cover the first lie, then it has to cover the second lie. It's like a double to a triple cover. The cover's bigger, therefore the sin is bigger. It's increasing. So if something is stupid, it goes down the line. If the question is already broken, speaking about something stupid, if the thing is stupid, now the question has to be a lie and stupid, which is what the enemy did from the beginning, is twist the question. Did he say you shall not eat from the tree of the garden? No, it's already corrupt. I think I said that in the last video. The question from the beginning was with a wicked heart from the enemy, twisting the question itself and twisting what the Creator, the Father, said, twisting what Yehovah said, of which the world does hate even his own name, whatever is even in his word, with support and connections, many. That's what it hates. It creates its own thing. It doesn't seek the truth, even though it's in its face that the Creator is existing, alive, and has incomprehensible power beyond comprehension. The creation is screaming at the carnal man, saying, look, behold the Creator, you stupid worm. How can't you see? So never underestimating man's blindness, never saying something like this in the heart. Why would someone do that? That doesn't even make sense to me anymore at all, because it has nothing to do with truth. The works that I've seen and experienced have nothing to do with that. Yes, someone absolutely would do something contradicting. That's all he ever does. That makes no sense. That doesn't seem like there's a cause, because he murders without a cause. It's already broken. There doesn't need to be a cause for man to do evil. He just hates the Creator that much and hates good that much, that just being near someone's going to envy and start attacking the light shining in a dark place. No one likes being exposed, but that's what light is. It exposes darkness. How is that evil? Then they should say the sun shouldn't exist for them. They deserve death based on their own measure. Someone is measured back. They deserve death because their measuring is hypocritical and death. Someone hates light that much and being exposed that much without any evil intent. It's just light shining. Then they don't deserve to live by their own measure. And so then they don't. The wages of sin is death. Whatever measure someone measures out, that's what is measured back according to what someone's standard and evil judgment is. Now you have to be according to that judgment, meaning that if you don't truly keep what you're accusing and condemning someone of, you yourself are condemned, and a strong judgment's coming back on you, on the hypocrite and the snakes and the liars and deceivers, of which all are first. All whoever came before Messiah said, were robbers and thieves. All who came before, not one or two or some. They don't like that word all when it's exposing their lies. They don't like that the Father is the Savior of all people, especially, not exclusively. Nevertheless, there is something about only a few believing now, but that's not the understanding of these verses. It's who the Father is and what he did for all people before it's even done, what the plan is and what he has done already and what will be, because it's as good as if it's done with him. That's prophecy from him. It's as good as if it's done already. It's been declared, it's coming. Be good to all, especially the household of faith. Does all not mean all there? And suddenly all doesn't mean all. Be good to a few. Do wickedness to all enemies, which is contradicting all things, which means we're just a rotten sinner that does evil no different than anyone else continually. Someone never loves their enemies by doing good to those that do evil. Then we're all the same person, the same sinner, the same wickedness, a hypocrite, no different than anyone else. It's the Father that makes his people different, not self. Therefore, that is special and that is okay because he does that and wants to do that. Because denying self is not prideful. So then if someone wants to be special, they need to be very unspecial in this world. They need to be thought of as wicked, a loser, a nothing, and a nobody if they want to be special. Is that what they want? That's what's required. Do they really want to be special? No, not according to truth, but according to the devil's special, the good and evil. That's the evil special. It wants to be above others special. It doesn't know what heavenly special means, because we do read a special royal priesthood and nation. And it does mean special. Yes, it does. But it doesn't mean what man thinks it means. They only have evil as a special, stepping on others, prideful above others, better than others, inherently better. Something about their flesh is unique and better than everyone else. That's the kind of special the world teaches. The wicked special. What kind of giving does it teach? Wicked giving. It looks like giving. It's the image of the beast, of the truth, copying the image of truth and doing the image, the hollow, empty, hypocritical image. Looking like you're doing something doesn't mean we're doing it. And that's not that hard to understand. When it's given, it's simple. The simplicity in Messiah. So simple a fool cannot err, we also read. And I remember saying this before, but that doesn't mean that a fool cannot err, literally. Yet that's exactly what we read. Because if his word is being judged with carnal mind, with eyes, with ears of the self, it will only be enmity, a contradiction, and foolishness to the one that's doing evil and not seeking the Creator for answers and truth. It's a contradiction to someone's mind because they are a living contradiction. Because it thinks it can find out its own way and its own self, and it wants it to be its own things. Everything that's given is not truly ours, even though when it's given, it becomes ours. So if you give someone something, it's theirs now. But the Father gives the true gift. It's theirs now. And yet it's not. It doesn't come from us. And it's not in that we didn't create it and it doesn't come from us. It is in that when he gives a gift, it's ours now. because it's given. That's what's determined. That's what freely giving is. That's what he does. He freely gives. So God-man goes around trying to copy the image of freely giving by using the word free and showing that they give to others free things. That's wicked, because the only reason it's doing it for the intention of the heart, that it cannot see why it's doing it, refuses to look, refuses to acknowledge, is to be self-righteous and cover its sins, so that it covers its sins and so that it's better than others and everyone else. So it raises itself up by throwing others down, which is the works of the devil. There is a true lifting up, the set apart lifting up. He lifts up his people. This lifting up is the good, of which no one can see unless they are being lifted up and seek the Creator and are of his spirit. The world lifting up is pride. It's the image and masquerade of the true lifting up. And every law, every commandment, that's how the enemy masquerades, with the same understanding applied to everything else. The image of the true. Its intention is to look like the true, but it has nothing to do with what it actually means. It has nothing to do with the works, doing the works of that image and knowledge. They have to go together as one. Just the image, the knowledge alone, it's an evil work, because the knowledge is one with the works. And the works look like something because that's just how it has to be. It does look like something if someone is giving truly, is freely giving as we're commanded to give freely. It does look like giving because it is giving. There's nothing wrong with that, but the enemy masquerades that, copies it, creates a copy and an image of that, and with steaming envy and rage and wrath and jealousy against all others that have what it wants that it doesn't have, it now sets itself out to cover its sins and replace the truth and become the truth, to be against the truth and replace it. Anti-Messiah spirit, that spirit of lawlessness that the world doesn't know what it is, because it never asks what that is from its heart to the Father, and not some wooden God and wooden stone Elohim that can do nothing for it. Just a piece of plastic or tin. And yet it's not even about the tin, but that is the natural, the lowly image, the carnal, earthly image of the truth spiritually, the type, the shadows and types of the true. An actual shadow cannot never be the true light, and the type cannot be the true truth, because it's a type by its definition, by the Father's words definition and what type means. It cannot be what's real. It's a type of what's real. It's pointing to what's real. The image, the false way, is that image, which is at best a type and shadow of the true. Copies in heaven, on earth, copies of the heavenly things on earth, for a purpose, to show that man is wicked and worships the image of the beast and can do no good, and also for the purpose of his people learning his word and seeing these things and putting his word and the pictures naturally, building from that to become as Messiah, spiritual, and doing the real works of those types and shadows. And that's how the Father teaches his people. That's how Messiah teaches. Father and Messiah now. Not just one, not the Creator, and not just Messiah. Whoever doesn't know the Messiah doesn't have the Father, and no one that believes in the Father has Messiah either. They're not divided. It cannot be broken. That's Messiah's teaching. That's the truth. They can claim all they want, whoever's doing that in religion, in this world. But they're liars, and their works will prove it or disprove what they say, whether their words are true or not. The works prove everything. You know them by their fruit, we read. Works. There's no other way to know, and there's no other way to judge. It's wicked to do any other way, is to see the thoughts and intentions of the heart. So this world's thoughts and intentions are evil continually. Genesis 6, I believe, the number of man. I believe it's chapter 6 in there. That man's heart, the thoughts and intentions of his heart is only evil continually. Not what he looks like, but his actual works, the thoughts and intentions of the heart. Hard to type with one hand only. Genesis 6. Genesis 6:5. Then Jehovah saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth. That's what's great. People call others great, great ones. What they're really speaking of is that they're great, wicked ones. That's what great means to man, wicked. The wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Genesis 6:6. And Jehovah was sorry that he made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. The number of man. Who is it? Genesis 6:5. 6:6. Is it not all mankind, Adam and Eve, covering their sins, hiding them, trying to cover their sins? It's doing the works of trying and wanting to cover its sins. Only the Father can forgive and cover sins through real acknowledgement and repentance and belief. The true belief and faith, which is denying self, and then seeing some of that wickedness in the beginning of self, finally seeing a little bit of light, blinded by his light, so that we can see we were blind. Until that happens and someone is born again from above, they will never see that they're blind. They will never believe it in their heart that they're utterly blind. The pride is hiding and covering all of this. It literally thinks it's wise, and it's stupid, blind, and does stupid, evil works non-stop while it thinks it's wisdom. Literally thinks it's wisdom. It's why we read, thinking they're wise, they have become fools. And it's also why we read, whoever thinks of himself to be something, he is nothing yet, nothing. It's through that pride that the apostle is saying there, thinking of self as being something great, something amazing, in pride, better than others. That person knows nothing yet, sees nothing as he should yet, but only self-deceived and deceiving others continually. Man can't accept the Father's judgment. A judgment shown in the natural first, with all the earth judged and flooded, because the wages of sin is death. So then it needs to blame something or someone else. Angels in heaven, monsters, demons, 6,000, 4,000 foot tall giants. And yet it's not even about that, those literal things, but it's why man is doing what he's doing, the thoughts and intentions of his heart. And whatever is a lie, that's not good. It needs to be exposed, and the truth needs to replace that lie and destroy it. The light destroys the darkness and makes it melt, makes it disappear. It consumes the darkness. The Father's people consume this world. It's a torment to be near them, because that light shining, which is the Father's light, shining in his people, is exposing and threatening to consume the carnal man that's at war and enmity towards the Creator. And that's true while it's also not about self. It's not his people that they hate first, but it's because they hate them because they hate the Father first, and then they hate Messiah and his people because they hate the light, they hate good. It's not about self in a prideful, selfish way like that. Yet it's still true that they do hate. You shall be hated by all men. And hated for his namesake as a testimony. Testimony is something that's proof, doing the actual works. And being a testimony to what self is doing is true and saying is true. Testifying that it's the truth in heaven and Elohim knows it. What does the devil do? Masquerades what the apostle said as an example, that I know and I do not lie, and Elohim knows that I'm not lying. That's what the devil will say. It copies the words and copies the image. And it's only doing that to hide its sins and look like what it wants others to believe it is. Selling a certain image that it wants others to believe that it is. It's swearing and doing all this, looking just like the believer on the outside, so that they're not spotted, as if they can't be seen by the Creator, and anyone who has sight, as if their works cannot be seen. It says, nobody finds me here. Nobody sees me in the dark. Its own blindness thinks that no one can see it because it's blind. Using the darkness as a cover, as an excuse for sin, is what all will do and have done already. And anyone that's not of the Father will continue to do it. They'll use the darkness as an excuse for their sins. You can't be doing that. There is no healing, there is no light, there is no truth without acknowledging whatever is true that has been done from the heart for real. And if it was an evil work, it has to be exposed and acknowledged. There is no forgiveness available any other way. And the Father having mercy on a few in the beginning, when someone first believes, that grace that's given as a gift is a separate understanding than not being healed and forgiven for something that we don't acknowledge. That's for a believer to learn and do. A believer will not be forgiven unless that thing is acknowledged. It cannot be hidden. The judgment will stay on that person, stay on us until it's revealed, until it's exposed, until it's acknowledged. And every believer has to find out what they're doing and why they're doing it, why this is happening. Figure out why such and such is happening. Because everything about this world is a lie. Everything that it thinks and ever thought or has ever done for how all things work is all a lie. None of it is according to what the world does and says. It's just a random devil mutation generator so that they can cover their sins and put their head in the ground and try to run from the Creator like Jonah and deny reality and deny truth. It's using that as an excuse to cover and justify its sins. When it does these things, it's an excuse and a justifier for evil, for sin, so that it doesn't repent, doesn't have to do any good, doesn't need to do anything. It can just somehow receive blessings and life for doing evil. Well, no, it can't. Father's never done that for a single person at any time ever. No one has ever been blessed for doing sin. No one has ever been given light, truth, and life for continual sin and not acknowledging truth, but lying continually. And if we don't forgive, the Heavenly Father won't forgive us, Messiah taught. That can't be buried because someone doesn't like it and is at enmity with that truth Messiah taught. That can't just be buried now. So just pretend it doesn't exist is what the church world does, is what the carnal mind does. Just bury it and pretend it doesn't exist. Make the quick excuse and then forget about it because someone wants to forget about it. They should be careful with what they want because the seed will go away and never come back again. The bird's not going to just come back and here's the seed back. It's going to eat it. The foul spirit will take it. And these fall in rocky ground, shallow ground, mixed with tons of weeds, choking it out. The cares and love of this world choke it out. His truth is stunning. No one can touch it. It's perfectly true, and it's being prophesied and fulfilled every day with everyone, constantly. Those words are becoming true. It is true, and it's becoming true every day, and it will be true. The true worshipers must worship him in spirit and in truth. Messiah said, the day is coming, the time is coming, and now is, because both of those things are true. Messiah being the first, now already is. He's already living the Father's truth and word by keeping his commandments from the heart. And it's coming as generations come and new believers believe, and it is and it's coming. Both are true. But the time already was when he said that, and it's coming. Unlike any other time before. Under the old covenant, there was no life. There was no truth in reality. It was just the types and shadows and images of the true. The Father never dwelled in temples made with hands. That's never what it meant. He never actually did that for that meaning. His power and presence, the glory in the temple, is teaching that he dwells in the temple, not made with hands, but that's the natural. It was never about the Father being in a building, in a temple, in a synagogue, and yet this is how it was. And then it is in the new covenant in Messiah, and is to come in the next age and ages. It was, is, and is to come, the 3 ages. Rock of Ages. Don't know what I'm singing. Full of pride and emptiness. Down I go into the pit. This really sucks. I think this is it. Now I'm a dead sinner, destroyed to be. Let me hide myself from thee, cover myself up with fig leaves. Think I can hide all my sins, something, There's nothing new under the sun, and the end was declared from the beginning. Whatever is the end is the beginning. The judgment declared from the beginning that Adam is going to die. And to save that soul and hold on to Adam, someone will be dying right along with that judgment for Adam, rotting and dying. Adam is the judged, determined from above to die. Dying, you shall die. A process, and you will die. And you're dead, you're dying, and you will die. These things all are one in spirit, and there is no contradiction in spirit. Because the Father is not a fool and doesn't go against himself and his own truth, his own self. And Messiah does not go against Messiah. Is Messiah divided? No, not in truth. He's not actually divided, but man is. And someone that's always doing the works of division for evil is the very proof and works for proof that they're of the enemy, that they don't know the Father, because he's not that. Messiah is not divided. He's not divided in truth. There's no reality to that. The world, though, is divided badly. It's all it is a division of divisions of divisions. It's confusion beyond confusion, and no one can source it back to what it was and what it is. They cannot, no one can do that because it's so mixed up and complicated through sin and stupidity and confusion, creating complication out of stupidness, not out of wisdom, but masquerading as wisdom by being stupid, which creates the image of wisdom because of complication. Someone thinks it's complicated, and now that it's complicated, it's wise. It's complicated through this wisdom, but it's actually foolishness is what makes it complicated, and then it's sold as wisdom, and that's what the sorcerer's work is. in religion and anyone that does evil continually apart from him. It sells something that's evil as good. It masquerades and creates a fake light that's masquerading as the true light. It's not a light, and it cannot do works of light, and it cannot be an actual light. An image of light is not the true light. It's just a copy. It's just a look-alike. The devil has only come to kill, steal, and destroy. That's it. Those are the works. Those are the intentions of man. That's all it can be without the Father, is the intention and work to kill, steal, and destroy. And no one has to kill literally for that to be true, because that's not what it means, is to simply kill someone. And yet we do read kill. It's a murderous heart. It's envy and theft and robbery comes from its heart, as Messiah taught. Envy, theft, murder, wickedness, adultery, a bunch of strong things and words all connected to evil, he said, is what comes out of the heart, out of the mouth. And it's likened to crap coming out. There's a natural body, and then there's the spiritual body. There's two. There's the natural body, as the apostle says and teaches, and there's a spiritual body. To be in destruction is something like someone's body being burned and destroyed in Gehenna fire, where worms don't die and the fire's not quenched, because there's always corruption to burn. And sin fuels the fire, and that's a teaching. That's the Father's word. Teaches that sin fuels the fire. Their sins fuel the flames. We read. I wonder if I could find it through fuel. Let me look for it real quick. Isaiah probably, or Ezekiel. 9:19. Okay, let's see. Isaiah 9, the number, that death, 6 inverted. 9:19. Maybe so. It may not be the only verse, but probably not. But Isaiah 9:18, for wickedness burns as fire. As the fire, it shall devour the briars and thorns, and kindle in the thickets of the forest. They shall mount up like rising smoke. What do we read in Revelation about smoke? Through the wrath of Yehoshua of hosts, the land is burned up, and the people shall be as fuel for the fire. No man shall spare his brother, because no one cares about anyone else except themselves. No man shall spare his brother. This is happening every day. It's being fulfilled. Man is doing what these words mean every day. What does the world think betraying his brother means? Nothing to do with what this means. And that's how it thinks it can hide and run from sin, is create a false from truth, is create a false definition to everything. I call it the false devil definition to everything, the excuse, the obvious excuse, the false definition to everything. So that once it believes that false definition and gets others to believe it, they already got them to sin because it's false. Therefore, they will never do what good is, because it's not doing what it means, which is the actual good, because it thinks it's something false and is false, so that it doesn't do good, so that it can continue and justify doing evil. Need some water. Hello? Anybody home? Deceiver, I'm here to take you to the bottomless pit. Going crazy. So then the picture is, if you dump a bunch of corruption for fire, it keeps burning. Messiah taught what we read in Isaiah 66, at the very end of 66, the number of man, where the worm doesn't die and the fire is not quenched. He shall snatch on the right hand and be hungry. He shall devour on the left hand and not be satisfied. He's going to be catching something with the right hand and still be hungry. And he's going to be devouring with the left hand and not be satisfied. How could this be so? Because he who saves his soul shall be destroying it. He who saves his life shall be losing it. How do you have life if we devour ourselves? If we're destroying ourselves, it's a contradiction. It's not possible. In that can't be done while doing any kind of good or have any kind of life. It's a lie to think that someone can hold on to their soul and live, contradicting saving it. Nobody can save their soul and live. To do that is to be destroyed. That's the judgment on mankind, on Adam. Dying, you shall die. That's the determined judgment, because man's always sinning, not because of some kind of automatic thing where hundreds of years passed by and Adam did some sin and it just like caught a cold, and now I technically am a sinner because I caught Adam's disease and I'm not a sinner and I'm not at fault. It goes down in line because everyone is sinning and takes the image of Adam, is doing the same works of Adam, and that's how it goes down the line every generation, is because everyone's actually doing real sin, not because the Father just unrighteously, evilly put something on someone because someone did something a long time ago. That's evil. It sounds like that when you read it. It's not what it means. It's because everyone is actually doing the same sin that Adam and Eve did. That's why it comes down the line. In Adam all die. Dying, you shall die. What is the determined judgment for just Adam? We can make the connection in truth with his word. Just Adam? It's not just Adam, it's all. In Adam, all die. All are sinners, we read. And even the church will agree with those words, that all in Adam are sinners, all in Adam die. They'll agree with those words, that all are sinners. Yes, they will. With the mouth, they will agree with those words. And there's nothing wrong with those words when it's truth. But why is it agreeing with it? Does it really know what it's doing? Does it even understand what it's agreeing to or claiming to agree? Does it actually know? Is it having anything to do with truth? Bearing that same image, we read that Adam has a kid, sons, and he was in the similitude, in the image of Adam, and it goes down the line. Yes, and there is a natural understanding, looking a little bit like Adam, daddy or mommy, bearing that literal image, teaching the spiritual, which is the only heavenly truth, because the natural will have no profit. The flesh profits nothing. It's a teaching, while somehow still working perfectly naturally. Incredible. It's perfect and true spiritually and working in heaven perfectly in unity with every other truth, and yet somehow it's working out a natural thing that's literally working out. Somehow someone can have kids and it does all these things and it works out while teaching a spiritual truth without any contradiction. With every truth is like that. Deep. With the natural understanding and then the spiritual. The two things. First, the natural, we read, the apostle says, not the natural first, Not the spiritual first, but the natural. Afterwards, the spiritual. The first man's not spiritual, Adam, of which everyone is. Everyone's in the image of Adam first, down the line, spiritually looking like Adam and Eve. Same works, looking just like Adam in the heart, looking just like those works, because they are the same. The same rebellion, the same sin, the same covering of sins, the same hiding in the trees like a beast from sin, in the darkness trying to hide in fearful cowardness, the true definition of a coward, and not the world's definition of what a coward is. That has nothing to do with truth at all. Zero. What the world thinks in its mind for real for what a coward is not even a single thought that came from the Father above. It doesn't have any thoughts of Elohim. Elohim is not on their thoughts. Psalm 10. Psalm 10. 10:4, ready for takeoff. Oops, I didn't click 10. Psalm. There we go. For the wicked boasts of his heart's desire. 10:3, he blesses the greedy and renounces Jehovah. Psalm 10:4, ready for takeoff. The wicked in his pride countenance does not seek Elohim. Elohim is in none of his thoughts. None. Yeah, that word's there. We can even look at it. Tools. What is it? Forward or reverse? I always forget. Forward, the original Hebrew word order, or the reverse on this? I don't know. The wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after Elohim is not after Elohim is not in all his thoughts. And try forward now. The wicked through the pride of his countenance not will seek after Elohim, not his Elohim in all his thoughts. I think it's actually forward. Not will seek, not will seek. Baal. Hebrew word. Wait. Dot in the middle is a B, right? Yeah, I think so. Baal will seek after Elohim, not. Slightly different. It's a different word actually, but Ale, not is Elohim in all his thoughts. H36 Ayin. Never, no, none, not, nothing, not, without, nothing, not, nothing, not, without, for lack of, and there it is. Those are all to do with nothing, not, without, lack of. Very strong word that means exactly what we have. Not, none, not, nothing. None of his thoughts are on him. (10:4). 10:5. His ways are always prospering. What kind of prospering according to truth? Religious, sowing seed to the ministry, prospering. Business prospering. Gaining riches and wealth of the world, carnal gold, profiting and prospering. This is the prospering of the wicked. He always is prospering. That's a teaching. Does that mean every single person on earth is the same and becomes wealthy? Literally, no, it doesn't mean that. Where do we read that? His ways are always prospering. You can't give the understanding to someone. It has to be given. It has to be sought after. Even putting in all the words, the best that you're given to do won't work, won't be enough for anybody unless they're seeking the truth, unless they're receiving from the Father and seeking truth, to be able to hear the words of truth, to be able to hear his spiritual Hebrew language that the world does not speak except for his people speak in tongues, in a language that the world cannot hear. They cannot hear the words. Messiah taught this. They have eyes, and we read in Isaiah that they cannot see. They have ears, but they cannot hear. Messiah taught that they cannot hear. But they do hear. With their literal ears, they hear, but they don't hear the words of truth, spiritually. They don't hear the words. They don't hear his language that believers speak. It's foolish to them. It's gibberish to them. Because the words that are coming out of believers' mouth are words that they've heard before in the world many times. It's not about the literal words. That's the best anyone can do in the Father, is speak what we see. And how that sounds and what words are used is just the way it will be. It won't be anything that the world hasn't literally said. The devil has already masqueraded and copied that a long time ago to cause confusion, division, and masquerade, to be a look-alike, the truth. It's the false prophets and the wicked that steal the truth, steal the words, steal the teachings, and use it for their own self-gain to profit and make money. Rob people blind, destroy them, lie to them, bring on judgment through deceiving them, and then people believing the lies and bringing a judgment on their own head. Anyone that follows a blind leader is going into the ditch with them, Messiah taught. Not just one or the other. The blind lead the blind, and both fall into the ditch. It is so. It's too bad that someone's blind and followed a blind prophet into the ditch. That's the truth. It's a hard truth. It's true. There's no excuse. Yeah, it's true that the leader did very much wickedness, and it's highly evil to lead someone into a ditch to their destruction. Nevertheless, anyone that follows them is going in the ditch. His ways are always prospering. Your judgments are far above, and the heavens are above. What is this? Your judgments are far above, out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he sneers at them. The wicked sneer all the time in their pride. That's why they're sneering, because the Father's judgment is on them, and their own wickedness makes someone sneer. They condemn self. Man condemns himself and thinks his works are stupid and foolish, and he condemns himself and his own works, and thinks he's a fool, and his works prove that, and yet he will never acknowledge that he's a fool. And yet the works are proving that he believes he's a fool and stupid. How confusing is that? How contradicting is that? The judgment's instantly coming back and reversing right onto someone's head. Whatever someone puts out, it's coming back on them, and that's why the wicked sneer, because the Father sneers at them, because they're doing evil. Anyone doing evil. Applies to all. He said in his heart, I shall not be moved. I shall never be in adversity. He says in his heart. That's what's real in the heart, not what someone lies with the mouth, not saying this with a trumpet, letting everyone literally know that I shall not be moved. That's not what it means. He's doing this work secretly. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and oppression. How true is that? Who isn't guilty of this? Under his tongue is trouble and iniquity. This is for all. This is for everyone. It's for believers to overcome. This is everyone, because no one is good, not even one is righteous. He sits in the lurking places of the villages in the secret. There's the word, places. He murders the innocent. His eyes are secretly fixed, secretly again, on the helpless. He lies in wait secretly. Wow. Over and over again, we're seeing this word. As a lion in his den, he lies in wait to catch the poor. He catches the poor when he draws him into his net. And what are believers to be? Poor in spirit? Is this also true about poor people? Yes, it is. What does it mean, though? So he crouches, he lies low, that the helpless may fall by his strength. What kind of strength is this? The strength of the wicked. The same as always prospering. The same strength as always prospering. Evil. Becoming strength, becoming strong in the flesh, strong in the world like Samson, is to be a destroyed and a destroyer. The end is coming. The fall is coming for someone that thinks they're strong and wise of themselves. This is the wicked strength masquerading the Father's strength that he gives to the humble, to those who deny themselves, to receive the true strength that the wicked envy and don't have. The only reason the wicked sell that how strong they are for an image, the Wizard of Oz, the beast, the image of the beast image, is to hide that they have zero strength and that they are cowards and fearful inside. In reality, within themselves, cowards. He said in his heart, Elohim has forgotten, as if the Father forgets. Who forgets? Man forgets Elohim. He forgets that he's not God. He's not Elohim. He forgets. He hides his face. He will never see. This is what he says in his heart. In his heart. These are works of the heart that can't be seen with the literal eyes and literal ears can't hear. These are the invisible, real works of the heart. Arise, O Jehovah, O Elohim, lift up your hand, do not forget. There's the word, humble. Why do the wicked renounce Elohim? He has said in his heart, you will not require an account. You say that all the day long, carnal man, oh man, like we read. But it means nothing. And it means nothing to believers. These are empty words and empty threats and empty rebellion. It means nothing. He's requiring an account. They could say this all day long and it never will become true because they say it. And we can say this and it will not become true because we say it. Because we're God and whatever we say, whatever is spoken, let it be done. Man thinks because he speaks, so it is. Only the Creator speaks, and so it is. Not man, but man speaks and thinks because he speaks in pride, so it is. He says, Father will not require an account, therefore it is. But you have seen, for you observe trouble and grief. To repay it by your hand, the helpless commits himself to you. You are the helper of the fatherless. Break the arm of the wicked and the evil. Man, seek out his wickedness until you find none. When is it going to be none? Until the full death of Adam. When Adam's fully dead, the Father will find no more wickedness. So then believers need to be dying to that old man, dying daily, as Messiah taught, daily, carrying the stake daily, dying to who and what they are, that old man, until he finds no wickedness. Those that are not dying to the old man are in a destruction, and they're just dying and wasting away in corruption. They're not dying to the old man, they're just dying in Gehenna fire, that judgment. There's the judgment outside of the camp, the court of the Gentiles, and then there's the judgment inside Israel, where the sacrifice is done inwardly inside of Israel, in the temple, the worship is in the temple, but I don't have the right words right now exactly like we read. But there's the two judgments, the court of the Gentiles, that sacrifice is out there, the flesh, all that stuff that from the animal to dump and burn versus the inward parts, and those are inwardly to be sacrificed, making a distinction between the outward flesh that's not any profit. Take all this and burn it on the outside over there. But the heart, like liver and the inward parts, are the real things. That's the real sacrifice. That other sacrifice is the judgment of the Gentiles for the whole world. There's two judgments for believers, and then the judgment for unbelievers that have not begun the true judgment that believers have begun, that rather has begun on them. The judgment is on the house of Elohim, we read. It starts now. That's a different judgment for unbelievers. They're under judgment, but it's a different judgment. It's a judgment for sin, and it's a death and it's a destruction, in simple words, in short. It's a Gehenna fire judgment, not the lake of fire judgment. That begins with believers that pass through the fire to be refined and yet come out alive and not burned up and consumed. Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, passing through the lake of fire, who can dwell with everlasting burnings, age-abiding burnings. We read, well, not man of his own self, but those who trust in the Creator and believe in him can. Because right now he's consuming the wicked in believers. They're being consumed and destroyed. He's got to get that sin out of us, needing to be perfected. As Messiah taught, be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. No, don't do that. Those are just joke. That's some kind of delusion right there. What does the church world think that means? That it's a joke? Messiah taught what cannot be done? Well, it can't be done by us, but he did not teach what cannot be done, period. Father doing the works in us can do it, and it needs to be done. Be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. Man thinks he's perfect already. He thinks he knows what that means, but Abraham didn't truly know. He was told to be perfect. He kept the commandments, the laws, the statutes, the judgments. We read in Genesis, he kept the laws, the Father's commandments, but he kept them how? Outwardly, naturally. The only way man knows and thinks that the law means and what it is and how to keep it. But concerning real things of the heart, the true law in the heart being written was not so until Messiah, until the new covenant. The prophecy we read, the time is coming, the day is coming that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel, and I will write the law in their hearts, on their hearts and in their minds. How could a day be coming as if it's a coming someday and be true at that moment or before that moment? It wasn't so. It was coming and now is, and it's still coming. And yet, long ago, it was coming in that it wasn't there yet. It was not revealed yet. It was revealed in Messiah, the firstborn from the dead. Something like Adam being born first, being created first, but Messiah was created in the Father's image, his spiritual image first, the firstborn, literally the firstborn from the dead, from the spiritual dead. Nobody that came before Messiah, all who came before Messiah were thieves and robbers. Messiah taught that. And that hit me one day when I read that, because he showed me that that's true. But then the verse came a little later, and then he makes, it just stands out, shows you something, and it hits you with what truth. Taught this, all who come before him. But just tonight, though, I saw a little more of this, and it came to my mind of what this is really meaning. All who comes before Messiah, and John the Baptist came before Messiah, and yet Messiah comes before John, meaning greater than John, because the Father made him greater, because of what Messiah is, that the Father's works are in him, is greater than John. It's not about pride. It's about the Father's works and truth working in someone. That's what's great. John came before Messiah, like we read, to prepare the way, but concerning the kingdom and all truth, Messiah is before John, meaning first, important, at the top, above, more important, more at the top, the highest, before, both are true. John comes before. The natural man comes before Messiah first. But the new man in Messiah is far greater. It's not even a comparison. And that comes first in importance. The spiritual, the heavenly things are first. They're above. But the natural man comes first before Messiah, as John was an example, called the greatest before the kingdom of heaven. A separation, a distinction that the church world knows not what it means at all, nor does it care. They will use those scriptures if needing to be giving a forced answer to teach that the law was done away and all of this evil, not having a clue, not seeking the truth at all from him. They will use those scriptures wickedly to prove that the commandments are wicked because they don't understand what it's meaning, how to keep them, what we're to do, the old covenant versus the new. What's the difference? What is the big change? What is the kingdom of heaven compared to before? That now was at hand, and it is at hand and has been at hand since Messiah. Anytime the truth is spoken anywhere, the kingdom of heaven has come to those people and is at hand. What will they do? The judgment's right in front of them. The proof of the Creator is right in front of them through his people, his messengers. Staring right in front of them. What are they going to do? It's reality. It's truth right in front of them. What do? They murder him. They murder the truth that was right in front of him. How is Elohim with his people? Elohim with us. Translated, Elohim is with us. How will they take that? How will their heart take and say that? What does that mean? That he is God himself. God is with us. This carnal, wicked, prideful, lying doctrine and understanding, that is all corruption. It has nothing to do with what the church world thinks and believes that means with their heart already. Messiah, Elohim is with us in that the Father is in Messiah. And he's right before the people. This is who the Father is if he were a man. He's doing the very works of the Father right there. What's the truth today? It's the same truth. Anybody of the Father, they're doing works of the Father right in the midst of people. The very proof is right there. What will they do? Murder you. They won't believe you're a believer. They can't do that. They can't believe Messiah is a true believer at all. That the Father is with him, that he's doing the Father's works. He says, my works testify what I say. It's not I who does the works, but the Father doing the works in me. He taught that, he acknowledged and testified that, and they did not believe his testimony. Will they believe you today? No, they won't. They will think you're a dung pile, ready for burning and destroying and torturing, and they'll murder you and step on you. That's what the works of the heart will do. That's what the world will do to his people. It can't believe in true believers no more than it could 2,000 years ago. That's the truth. And the works prove it. The experience over years is being proven every day, constantly. The believer doesn't need confirmation from the wicked, from this world, for anything that's true, because we get it from the Creator himself. And he gives light to see the works and to see the works of man and to see our own works, that they're no good, that we have to deny ourselves daily and die to this wicked man that Adam and Eve is and everyone. But his works are proven. They're to be seen. And the works of people discerned and seen, matching and lining up with the Father's word every day for prophecy, spiritual prophecy, the thoughts and intentions of the heart. And they will not believe you, though they look at you right in your face. They will not believe. They'll murder you like they murdered Messiah every day, sent out for slaughter. The sheep are sent out for the slaughter. Messiah said, behold, I send you out as sheep to the slaughter. I send you out on purpose to be slaughtered. Now you go out there because the Father is your strength and he will protect you, and you're going to need to believe that. And that faith has to be proven. Therefore, these tests and a bunch of evil for no cause is coming to you, because it's going to need to be proven what you say, whether you believe or not. You can't just say, I believe, and that's it. That faith is going to be proven whether we believe that in his power, in his protection, in his truth, and everything. It's going to be tested, which is a pressure, which is a heat. It puts on a heat like the sun puts on heat on a plant. That's the only thing that makes it grow. As soon as someone turns away from that testing and is offended by that sun, by the Creator's judgment and testing, that because of his word, because of his namesake, for the word, they perish. The only thing that can keep them alive and make them grow continually is what they deny and are offended of, thinking that the wide gateway is easy. In this way, this is no good, this is garbage and hard and wicked. And that wide gateway is death. It's a trick, it's a trap. And it's only going to get worse and worse every year that goes by for the carnal man. He wants it easy, he'll get it easy. He'll get an easy death sentence. That's very easy for the Father to do and judge sin. Must not take much to judge man, because man has no power of himself. There's nothing he can do of self, and Messiah taught, without me you can do nothing. And he said of himself, without the Father I can do nothing. I myself can do nothing. How come nobody speaks these words of truth for Messiah's teaching on who he is, what he did, what he spoke in truth, for what these words mean? I don't know it anywhere. I don't see it. I don't hear it anywhere. What does the church world say that means, that of myself I can do nothing? They need to answer that, because they're claiming something pretty big. And if they're liars, that's a pretty strong judgment on them, to be masquerading and using the Father's word like a whore, just for self-gain, to hide its sins, and for self-righteousness, to look wise before all men, to be greater than all. The world cannot hear these words. It must hate them with vengeance and fury. And if it tries to destroy his people for speaking truth, the Red Sea is coming for them. The Father will flood them. The thing that saves his people is what destroys the wicked. The exact same thing that saves his people destroys those coming after them. Yes, the exact same thing that saves his people destroys those that try to destroy anyone, especially the Creator's people. It's coming for them, that flood. They should be very weary and be aware. Take heed, like we read. They better be sure that they want to put on some deception and some evil, wicked plot to try to destroy the Father's people. They better be sure that's what they want to do. Rather, they better be sure that they want destruction. Do you want to destroy yourself? Then come and destroy the Creator's people. Chase the Israelites to your own death. That's what's coming for anyone that tries. That's the protection. That's the faith. That's the power that he shows. He shows his power and his fame throughout the earth through a few in this wicked age, with a contrast of Pharaoh and the Egyptians and this world that's of the enemy doing only evil. That allows for the Father to show his power, to show he's true, to show his miracles, to show his judgments, to show he's never wrong, he never lies, to show that he hates sin and proves that he hates sin. And the judgments prove that he hates sin and wickedness and loves good and truth and rejoices in truth. Without Pharaoh and the Egyptians, none of this could be shown or done. So then the Father uses the vessels of dishonor for a purpose. And everything is working together somehow for the good of his plan, magnificently not comprehensible. So many things all at the same time that are too lofty for man, too big to see, too big to see. Well, yes, the bigger the deception, the more people believe it, is what the world even says. Why is that so? Isn't that stupid? Shouldn't it be more obvious if it's a bigger deception? Now, why on earth would that be true? The bigger the deception, the easier and the more people will fall for it and be deceived. So what, a smaller deception means less people will be deceived? That's some serious foolishness, and yet there's truth to it. That the bigger the lie, the more people, the more easily it is believed. Because that's how backwards and corrupt man's heart is. It's so desperately wicked that if it's more wicked, it will love it more. It has to be lying. I ran out of characters for the description. It says 5,000 characters limit. So you put a dot or a letter accounts for a character. I've tested this multiple times, multiple witnesses, that you can't put 5,000 characters on StreamYard. Not in my testing for me. I can't speak for someone else. I don't know if that's so for someone else for sure. But I can say I've tested it a few times over time and never been able to put 5,000. It tells you how many you have. It used to not say, and then you would have to come, if you wanted to see it, you would have to post the video and come back and edit it, and then it would show you the characters. But now it shows you live before you post it for a little while now. 4,955 is what I could put in. If I go 4,956, it gives an error because it's one character too much. Then I went back to 55 and it accepted it. Then I put one more and it didn't accept it. So I found 4,955 characters out of 5,000/5,000 is what it accepts. It doesn't accept 4,999 even, and definitely not 5,000, because before you get to 5,000, you have to get to 4,999 first. And that's how a foundation is built. Before doing anything greater ahead, taller ahead of someone or higher than where you're at, you have to do the lower thing first. That comes first. That comes before it. Have to be a carnal man first. That comes before Messiah. A robber, a thief, a murderer. Everyone, all that came before Messiah are robbers, murderers, wicked, thieves, adulterers, sorcerers, breaking all the Creator's commandments from the heart, breaking his law, all of it, because it's all one from the same one. Whoever breaks "you shall not steal" breaks not just that, but all the law, because the same Creator that says don't steal also said don't forget. That's why we read that. That's what we're reading. Don't forget. That's how it's being said out of truth. He said also, do not lie. You can't pick and choose, is what we're reading. That's why it's being said. That's why we're reading that. The church world reverses it perfectly. Says you better be keeping all those commandments. If you don't keep one, you have to keep them all. You better be keeping all of them if you want to keep one. They're speaking out of enmity, out of perfect hatred for his commandments and his laws. It's perfectly doing the backwards work spiritually from the heart. Perfectly. Reverse it. No, yes, we better, if you break one, you better be keeping all, because to break one is to break all. Don't be breaking one or many, or picking and choosing in partiality, because that's to break all. They reverse it. Their intention is to not keep the commandments. That's the reversing. Take those words, and that's what their heart believes first. I've seen it too many times. Someone can try to hide it and manipulate and try to use different words, but that's what the heart believes. It's reversed. It's backwards. And they're not understanding any of his way, any of how it works, any of his grace, anything. Because it's also true that it's not true that the Father demands perfection in one day from our own power. That's the rebellion. That's wickedness. We're supposed to deny ourselves. We can't keep it. And yet we got to keep it. That's a contradiction to man. They don't want to learn what this means. Just wants to hastily do something and figure it out real quick and judge it in haste, and it'll end up doing sin every time in haste. No one can do the work of haste and have truth and do good. Not while they're doing that, they can't. That's got to start dying. That's got to go. the patience of the kingdom is some severe patience is required every day in all kinds of ways and all kinds of things. Too many things to try to even bring out all at once. Not even able to remember certain things all at once in 1 second, in one moment. Too much. And not saying too much out of a bad thing, just showing the weakness of man, self, everyone. All his commandments are one. To break one is to break all. It's a contradiction. It's foolish. It's evil. It's stupid. It's dumb. Retarded. Picking out one thing to be righteous in and then breaking everything else. Using that law, the one thing. I'm not a liar. I despise liars, someone says. That's their righteousness. That's what covers their sins, that they're not a liar. And they expose and accuse and condemn liars out of an evil, contradicting, wicked, condemning heart. The serial killer says, I'm not a liar. I hate liars. While he sniped someone in the back yesterday. A sniper. And if someone messes with how he kills people, he'll go insane. Because the way he even does it is a delusion. If he does it the way he created with his own corrupt mind, inspired by the devil, that justifies the very evil he's doing. If he snipes someone in the back a certain way, a certain pattern, while they're running away, that justifies the actual murder in his mind because he's following his own law he made up for it. And then he has to believe, well, everyone's evil and they deserve death. And he determines that on someone. Now he justifies murdering them and sniping them in the back. That's why the wicked talk like that. They masquerade the truth about deserving judgment. They're not doing righteous judgment when they say someone deserves judgment. They're taking vengeance in their own hands and doing the very sin that they accuse themselves, murderers, guilty of the accusation they make themselves. That is not the same thing as saying that sin deserves judgment, like we read in Revelation. They deserve it. But the devil masquerades those words when he says they deserve it to justify wickedness, not speaking out of truth and doing good works in the heart for what those words really mean, not doing what those words mean in the heart and doing those works at all. So if someone messes with the sniper's plan and his routine, his laws got mixed up, it's different this time. He'll say, you screwed me up. He'll fill up with wrath and start going nuts. You screwed me up. It's all your fault. You made me do this. And they were going to kill someone anyways. What do you mean you made me do this? You made me pull the trigger? Someone forced you to pull the trigger. Okay. Says delusion, says Hollywood, says everything that this world teaches constantly, people deceiving them. Yes, even through subliminal wicked, spiritual wickedness constantly going on, teaching people how to sin and justifying sin. Already that of self, and then teaching people to just affirm and confirm it, that it's okay. So now the wicked man, the sniper, has to do something, find something that makes him righteous. He needs to give a lot to charity. And get in front of people and get their face shown for how good he is because of his severe sin guilt. He's working out of sin guilt. He's in so much destruction and death and guilt, sin guilt for doing evil, that he has to go and make a show for an image. How righteous he is before men. What did Messiah teach? You appear righteous outwardly. You appear outwardly righteous before men, but inwardly, you're full of dead men's bones and all lawlessness and corruption. The only reason someone is doing that charity is to try and hide and cover their sins. That's it. It's evil. The only reason someone on YouTube is showing that they give $500, $1,000 right in front of someone, some random person on the street, is because they are in desperate sin. They are in deep darkness to do that work. You can't do that work where it's so evil, so obvious, so open in front of people showing how good it is. You can't want to desperately look good before all without being in a lot of sin. And the Father determines that sin and the judgment for it, not me, not anyone else, not anyone, not for us to do. Nevertheless, the truth is the truth. And there is no evil to speak truth. It's evil to not speak truth. It's evil to suppress that truth. It's evil to say that that's good over there. That's righteousness over there. Giving, look, he's giving. He's righteous. They're believing the image of the beast and they want to believe it because all will worship the image of the beast that have the mark and the number of his name marked out to be a devil. Yes, the devil pours out this folly through entertainment, through this world, through people, through all kinds of things that he's marked. He's marked. And the people often say, you had it coming. You got it coming, hypocrite. You got it coming. He's offended at what he sees. He's offended for what someone received, but he's happy also that someone is in destruction. He's rejoicing inside for someone else's destruction, of which we read, the Father takes no pleasure in the death of the wicked. And he teaches to do the same. Take no pleasure in the death of the wicked. That's evil, to take pleasure in someone's destruction. Who can see the line, the narrow way of doing and keeping that, while also believing in righteous judgment and wanting to see righteous judgment on sin? Who can walk? Who can stand? Who can see his truth and live it? That's why we read in Revelation, who can stand? Who can stand? That's why we also read, who can war with the beast? Who can war with it? Who can overcome it? It's too big. It's too strong. It's too mighty. Whole world's already doing it. You got to do it too. It already has succumbed to the enemy. It has already been overtaken. Overtaken, literally, like in a battle. Overtaken by sin. It's fallen. It's been overtaken. It's become a slave to it. It believes the lie and the delusion that there is no way out, that there is no way to do true good, and that there are no believers out in the world. None. That's what it believes in its heart secretly. If it's not saying it openly, it believes it secretly, which is the only thing that matters, is what the heart believes it is doing. Doesn't matter what someone says. What do they really do with their heart is what matters. Doesn't matter that someone says, I don't steal. Is it true that they don't steal? Are the tests proving that they steal, that anyone steals? What are the tests proving that everyone is receiving? And the world and everyone failing those tests every day, constantly proving that he's a liar and she's a liar. Adam and Eve are liars. They don't do what they say. They don't lift a finger for what they put on others and expect others to do and condemn others. They don't lift a finger to keep the commandments that they expect everyone else to keep and accuse them of doing evil. Not even a finger, as what Messiah said. And here's some hard words. John 7:19. Seven, the spiritual man, the rest, the complete thing, the beginning of the new creation is to become number 8, is the full new creation, the new, but is to go from carnality and die to it. That death Messiah died, and which is to live, which is to be alive in him, to be made alive, to become spiritual, 7. And this is the beginning of the new creation, 8, being worked out, and then what will be, what is to come, is 8, the complete newness of it all. The world cannot hate you, but it hates me because I testify. There it is. I just landed here with my eyes, but where is that verse? I think I mentioned this earlier. Happened to come right on it. You go up to this, the world cannot hate you. but it hates me because I testify of it that its works are evil. Did Messiah testify that the works are evil? Yes, he said he did, even plainly, simply. Why does it hate him? Because he testifies. He doesn't just talk, he testifies. And testify means something. It's with sight and clarity, it's with proof. To be a testimony, it's the Father's Spirit in him is a testifying, is the real works in light and truth, exposing darkness, that its works are evil. That's why the world cannot hate you. And yet Messiah says you will be hated by all men for my sake. Now, the world cannot hate you. What is this meaning? It's bringing out that it's not about us. It's not about self. It's about, well, I already said, the Creator himself, and that the world hates the Creator, hates Messiah, and therefore will hate his people. We're not the source. We're not the Creator. That's prideful. So this is what he's speaking out of when saying the world cannot hate you, but it hates me because I testify that its works are evil. For no one does anything in secret while he himself seeks to be known openly. If you do these things, show yourself to the world. For even his brothers did not believe in him. Then Yehoshua, show yourself to the world, hypocrites, blind. That's exactly what he did. He didn't hide the light and hide it under a bushel. He lived those words of not hiding the light. You show yourselves, hypocrite. Come to the light and be exposed. You are the darkness and accusation that you put on Messiah. Reverse those words on a mirror and read it to yourself. You come out of secret and hiding. No one does anything in secret while he himself seeks to be known openly. If you do these things, show yourself to the world. And they're asking something that's not even possible because of man's blinding. A separate understanding that no one can see him. The world cannot see him, and they're asking, show yourself to the world. They're blind. You want to see, you need to repent. You need to believe and deny yourself, carnal man. He's not going to show the world. The Father is hidden from the world, set apart from the world. Messiah is not of the world. The world cannot know him, cannot see him. They're asking him to sin also by saying this. His brothers therefore said to him, depart from here and go into Judea, that your disciples also may see the works you do. No one does any. If you do these things, then show yourself to the world. Incredible. How? How do you show someone that's blind? You can't. They need to see. They need to repent. Man needs to repent. There is no showing a blind person. They won't believe it even if it's shown. They can't hear the words. They can't see the Father. They can't see Messiah. They can't hear the language. They can't see the works for what it is. They cannot see that it's good. They will not believe a believer's a believer. It's proven over and over again, every generation. It's proven in all his word that it's true. They couldn't believe in Messiah. What else did they want him to do? He did everything. He did the Father's works and finished it. There's nothing that was left undone or left out. And yet they're still saying, still doing this. They're talking about themselves. It's a hypocrisy. The beast needs to come to the light and show itself to the world for what it really is. It's hiding what it really is. It thinks it can hide, and it's hiding with its heart what it really is, a sinner, a beast. It needs to come out to the light and show the world what it really is. It needs to acknowledge that it's a sinner and no good and wicked and full of wrath and envy every day and adultery and lust and all sin. Even his brothers is a deceiver now. The Father is a deceiver because his word says brothers did not believe in him. I guess Messiah did not have any brothers. The Father is just a deceiver. It's what they claim. It's what they believe. It's what they teach people. Lies. So this is true with everyone else in the world that ever lived. When someone says brothers and they're speaking of literal brothers, then that's true. But when Messiah has brothers, no, Messiah doesn't have brothers. He's God. God's brothers. Then Yehoshua said to them, my time is not yet come, but your time is always ready. The world cannot hate you. We read that, testify its works are evil. You go up to this feast. I am not yet going up to this feast, that for my time is not yet fully come. Yehoshua answered them and said, my doctrine is not mine, but his, the Father who sent me. It's been given to him. That's what he's teaching. He did not make it up. It's not his own. And yet it's his. He's giving the truth freely that the Father gave him, and he commands his people to do the same. The Father freely gives. The Father freely forgave someone. Now freely do these works as he did for you. Or else we'll be a hypocrite instantly. Very second we do evil, it's a hypocrite. Now forgive someone else. Have mercy on someone else. Because he had mercy and forgave you. Isn't that hypocrisy now, not to go and do that to someone else? So why should he forgive and do anything for us if we don't do it for someone else? He's a righteous judge. He won't do that. Now we have to do good to others and do this to the enemy. What do we expect? To not do this and still expect that from the Creator, from the Father, to do that, to give us mercy while not giving mercy to others ever? If anyone wills to do his will, he shall know concerning the doctrine, the teaching, whether it is from Elohim or whether I speak from my own authority or from myself, my own. Who will know? Someone that wills to do his will. Can you fake this? No, you can't fake this. This means someone actually is doing these words, wills to do his will. Anyone that doesn't will to do his will not know the doctrine, whether it is from Elohim or whether he speaks of his own authority. They won't know. They'll claim he's a liar, but they won't know. They won't know themselves. He who speaks from himself seeks his own glory, but he who seeks the glory of the one who sent him is true, and no unrighteousness is in him. Here it is, the hard words. Continually, did not Moses give you the law? Yet none of you keeps the law. Why do you seek to kill me? The people answered and said, you have a demon. Who is seeking to kill you? Who's that? We're making you out to be insane. Who seeks to kill you? The one that says this is seeking to kill him. The one that's saying this is the murderer that seeks to kill Messiah and his people. That's how he thinks he can hide, by asking who seeks to kill him. He thinks that works, that's a mighty wise work right there, to just ask and accuse someone else of sin, and therefore that hides that person is not a sinner now, that he's not guilty of doing this, because he's asking, who is seeking to kill you? Yehoshua answered and said, I did one work and you all marvel. Gave you not that is from Moses, and you circumcise a man on the Sabbath. Now they're hypocrisy. They do a work on the Sabbath to keep the Sabbath. They break something to keep it. What a contradiction. If a man receives circumcision on the Sabbath so that the law of Moses should not be broken, are you angry with me because I made a man completely well on the Sabbath? What does literal physical circumcision do for someone? Nothing by itself. Nothing. It's flesh. And yet Messiah is doing real works, camel work, that they swallow, strain at gnats, about worthlessness like physical circumcision, of which they did not know whatever meant and what it pointed to and what it represents. And we're not given that. But now Messiah actually healing someone's disease, their eyes, their ears, to be able to hear, making them alive again, giving them life, healing them. Actual, real works that are powerful and valuable beyond comprehension and measure. In contrast to everything else, worthless everything else is. And they're going to claim that he's breaking the Sabbath. He's doing the works of the Sabbath, hypocrites. But they could circumcise someone on the Sabbath and do a work on the Sabbath so that the law of Moses should not be broken. So they break the law in order not to break it. That's what he's saying. He's exposing their stupid hypocrisy. And you're angry with me because I actually healed someone and made them well. I actually did something, the Father's very works, real good. And you do nothing. You don't do good. And you're a hypocrite because you work to keep the Sabbath. You do a work if it lands on the Sabbath, as it was, circumcising a baby on the 8th day. You do a work so that the Sabbath isn't broken. And by doing that work, you break it. You can't see that there's an exception in his things, in his law, and have no clue what it means. They can't see it. And now they're accusing Messiah of breaking the Sabbath when that's exactly what they are. It's exactly what they do. Do not judge according to appearance. Judge with righteous judgment. Is this not he whom they seek to kill? But look, he speaks boldly and they say nothing to him. Yeah, it crickets everywhere. It's like you're in a desert. Nobody's alive. Nobody acknowledges truth. It's like you don't exist. That's been my experience. Do the rulers know indeed that this is truly the Messiah? No. However, we know there is a man where this man is from, but when the Messiah comes, wow, what kind of good did it require for Messiah to do when someone says when Messiah comes and he's right in front of them? When a believer comes someday and it's right in front of them, that's a lot. It takes a lot not to do any evil back to this garbage, this evil, this pride. When the Messiah comes, no one knows where he is from. However, we know where this man is from, but when the Messiah comes, no one knows where he is from. They're talking about themselves. They don't know. He's right in front of them and they don't know where he's from. Oh, but he's coming someday and no one knows where he's from. Yes, you said well. You prophesied well of yourself and you don't even realize it. This teaching is in here. Messiah taught that. You say the words. You actually condemned your own self. You actually said the right words, and you don't even realize you're talking about yourself. I have not come of myself, but he who sent me is true, whom you do not know. But I know him, for I am from him, and he sent me. Therefore they sought to take him, but no one laid a hand on him. Why? Because his hour had not yet come. No one can do what the Father has planned and go against it. Here's the reason, because his hour had not yet come. It has nothing to do with man's things and works, man's logic and reasonings. This must have happened because of this, and why did someone do this? There must be a reason. Why would someone do that? None of that matters. Here's what matters, because his hour had not yet come. No one can accept that. No one can accept that. The true reason, the truth, because it's truth. That's why no one can accept that. That's the real reason right there, because his hour had not yet come. No one can do anything about it. No one can take him and seize him when his hour has not yet come. They could try all they want and they won't be able to do it. They couldn't. They didn't. The only reason that hour came is because the Father made that hour come, and it did come, and then they could seize him. And then the beast overcame Messiah. Like we read in Revelation that it will do to all of his people. That day is coming. That hour is coming for his people. The beast will overcome his people in the flesh. It has nothing to do with being overcome, concerning being overcome for real, spiritually. That's the beast killing the Father's people. That's what the overcoming is the beast overcoming by killing Messiah. The beast overcame him. And yet it didn't. And yet that was part of the Father's plan from the beginning. It did exactly what the Father planned. How foolish is the enemy, and how foolish are those of the enemy. They only can do whatever is determined by the Father. They have no power, no free will. There's not a single work or thought or intention that's ever been done that was created by self, out of self's power, in freedom, in rebellion. It's the Creator's creation, and it's his rules, and it's his everything. No one goes against his actual will. No one actually goes against his plan and his desires. No one could seize Messiah before that hour came. They couldn't do it. And the Father knows how to stop them and knows how to restrain it easily. The spirit of man can do nothing because the Father is in control, and he's right in front of someone's face, bringing back the judgment right to their face, like we read in the Old Testament, that Old Testament scripture. He'll judge someone right back in their face, but the carnal man's too blind to see. He says, show yourself, God. Show yourself, you coward. It's talking about itself, because not a single person can do an actual evil from the heart without being a hypocrite and perfectly condemning and speaking of its own self. You come out of hiding, you hypocrite. You come out of the dark, you coward. For all that Adam and Eve is. Come out, Adam, to the light. Come out, Eve, to the light. You hide like a coward in the darkness. You don't come to light. So then they dump their sins onto the Creator and say, come out, coward, show yourself. He is. You're too blind to see. Every day man's being judged, and his wickedness comes back on his own head exactly as he put out to others. That's not proof. How much proof does someone need? And many of the people believed him and said, when the Messiah comes, he will do more signs than these which this man has. Will he do more signs than these which this man has done? Did they really believe in him now? No, they didn't. This is just speaking of what they did, the corrupt, blind hearts. Speaking of what they think, what their works are. They think they believed in him. Did they actually believe in Messiah? And then proceed to say, when the Messiah comes, he will do more signs. It's utter unbelief. They didn't believe him in it all. Zero. It's utter unbelief. It's perfect unbelief. Many of the people believed in him and said, when Messiah comes, he will do more. That's utter despising him and unbelief. It's utter wickedness. It's perfect unbelief in him. By saying, when the Messiah comes. How is that belief? When the Messiah comes, and he's right there. And the people believed in him? No, they didn't. This is speaking of what they think, what their works are, corrupt, blind. They think they believe in this man. They don't know him. They're still waiting for him to come, just like today. Still waiting. There's people out there that make these out in the open. They say the literal words that Messiah still hasn't come. But that's what everyone believes in their heart. Not everyone will say that outwardly, though. But there's divisions in religion and doctrines. I guess Judaism mainly, that much of it with what they say, with their words. They claim he never came. That wasn't Messiah, wasn't the true Messiah. They're still waiting for his first coming. But then is that not true for everyone that doesn't believe in the true Messiah? They're still waiting for him. They still want to see the kingdom in carnality, and it's never going to come the way that they want. The Father won't allow it. Messiah said, do not say. Or when he said concerning the kingdom, they asked him, when will it come? How will it come? He said to them, you will not say, see over there, here it is, or see over here, here it is. Like you can go out and just point at it and look at it. No, you can't. He said that you can't. What are the next words? But the kingdom of heaven is within. Has the devil said those words? Oh yeah, many times. Yeah, and it's disgusting when it's heard. It's disgusting to hear it. It's not disgusting when it's truth. It's disgusting when it's false, when it's just a masquerade, When someone speaks those words about the kingdom of heaven being within and they have nothing to do with it, have no clue what they're talking about. Their works deny their words and prove that they have no clue what they're speaking of, and still in massive sin every day with no belief, pretending to believe. You have tested those false apostles, Messiah said, those fake Jews, those fake believers, that they are not apostles, that they are not believers, but of the synagogue of Satan. But I have this against you. See, there's always something to be overcoming and learning for believers, always needing to watch and pray and be corrected in something until we're perfected. Yeah, that's a stern way, a perfect way. There's no slack concerning this good perfectness of the Father. There's no slack concerning good things and perfect things. That would be to sin. No, he's perfect. There's no slack. It's not okay to start sinning a little bit here, a little bit there. There's no teaching for that. That's not who the Father is. A little bit of good every now and then will cover my sins. You know, this is the heart of man. A little bit of good on purpose that I think and determine is good, and then go out and do it, give to charity, make myself known how good and righteous I am, will cover all my sins, says God-man, the anti-Messiah, God-man, Jesus Christ, of the anti-Messiah spirit. To be against and to replace, as people have said those words too, haven't they? To be against and replace the anti-Messiah spirit, the false congregation, the church world, the masquerade, all of it, the whole world, the Roman Catholic Church, all of it. Replacing the truth and becoming it so that it can control and dominate people and lust and keep on self-gaining and never being satisfied, fulfilling the scriptures every day for evil. Crowd was murmuring. Chief priests sent officers to take him. Yehoshua said, I shall be with you a little while longer, and then I go to him who sent me. I don't see any belief in this. And it's too easy to believe a lie. It's too easy to doubt. Someone's going to try to make someone doubt and destroy them. Try to destroy what little faith someone might have, needing to watch out for that. This is what Messiah said. This is the truth. The world can't hear these words. Of course it doesn't believe this for real. Of course it doesn't actually believe this at all. It doesn't believe in anything that's true and good. Doesn't believe in anything. Nothing for real in the heart. None of it. Can't believe that Messiah was raised from the dead. Can't believe that. Yes, Messiah, a man raised from the dead. The heavenly things are the most important things. It's still true, and an important truth, nevertheless, that the Messiah was raised from the dead. Yes, there is the spiritual, heavenly, important, and without there is nothing, to be spiritually raised from the dead, to becoming alive in Messiah now. That is the important thing. It's also true that he was raised from the dead, which is a teaching towards this. It's also true that there would be no hope if there was no resurrection from the dead. That's also true. Everything in its order and in its place. Carnal man comes in ready to destroy, slashing and attacking. Says that this can't be so because of this, and then determines what truth is and starts condemning and judging his word and starts attacking it and destroying it, and therefore destroying others. It's all that needs to be done is spiritual attack on any kind of faith at all. And that'll destroy someone. It's all it takes. All of the lies and deception is to keep someone from belief and from real faith. It's all going back to that, all of it. 10 million ways to do the same thing. What does that look like? What kind of power is that? Who can comprehend it? This is what we read. As the world likes to say, the man upstairs. Oh, Do they really now believe in the true Messiah and in the Creator, the man upstairs? Do they really know him? Do they really believe in him right now, today? And do they really believe that the age will end someday and that this is all going to be taken away and destroyed? It's all corrupt. It needs to be burned up. They really now believe in the church world that Messiah is alive, that he exists, period. It takes some real faith. It's not faith the moment someone can see. Faith is not seeing, it's still believing and hoping for things to come that are not yet. There's things to hope for every day, constantly, concerning overcoming sin, concerning making a way for overcoming sin, is believing and hoping the Father makes a way for what we can't see right now, this moment. Doesn't look good, doesn't look like it's going to come to pass or happen. That's what faith is. It believes anyways, trusts in the Creator anyways, despite how, no matter what it looks like this very moment for any given thing. How many times do we read to hope in the Creator, to hope in Jehovah through all of his word? What are all these different hopings for? All these different hopes constantly, all kinds of different things constantly to hope that an unbeliever can't comprehend and never does. He doesn't have any hope. Right now, doesn't have, not just about things to come, but right now. Not things to come out in the distant future, but things to come in our life right now. There's no hope. There is no hope in the wicked. It's cut off. There is no lamp for the wicked. It's blown out. There's no light. There is no hope. Nothing is coming in their life, and nothing is to come beyond their life. That's to be hopeless. The hope that we read of is not some kind of imaginary, false, wicked word, some saying, some religious saying that means nothing, where everyone is going based off what they don't see. So it's stupid to them because they don't know what hope is. It doesn't mean anything. There is no substance. Nothing within them. The Father Spirit not in them, then the hope is meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. It's just some religious thing, a religious word. And that's not what it is when we read it in his word. That's what the man thinks it is. That's what man thinks all of this is. And Messiah must remain in heaven until the times of the restoration of all things, something they hate, can't comprehend. And therefore, because it looks like it's so bad right now, it's an abomination for all things to be restored. That's right. That takes faith to believe that he's going to somehow do that and turn this wicked world around and restore all things. But those that believe are needing to be restored right now continually. The new man is what if without belief, there's no life right this minute. There's no hope for anything to come without belief. Everything to come means nothing and cannot mean anything for anyone without belief right now. Those things are not even given unless someone believes right now. Things to come aren't even given. Someone can only pretend to believe in things to come, and it means nothing to them. There's no power in it. There is no hope in it if they don't truly believe. Now is the time. Now is the only important time to believe, not 50 years from now, not 100 years from now. Not that there's 100 years left, less than a decade. This world's coming to a folding up of the scroll pretty quick. And it's no joke. To actually believe it now is foolishness to people to hear it, because they don't actually believe it. They're just speaking a delusion when they're saying, oh, this is going to happen soon, and they keep prophesying the day and the year and keep on failing over and over again. Do they now really believe? I haven't not seen it in real life. You speak out of truth and real belief, and it's an abomination to Christianity that you believe that this is so to come, and not only that, that it's very near, that the end of this age is being wrapped up quickly. It's an abomination to someone. They don't actually believe their own words. I haven't seen it. Do people say the words all the time? I haven't seen real belief in it. I haven't seen it. I think you're stupid. They think you're insane. Are you hearing voices? That's what I've received only. It comes from Christianity. Are you hearing voices? Because it's an abomination. The God they worship is not the creator. It's a stone. It's dead. It's not real. It's a delusion. It's not easy to even say because of how bad it is. It's hard. It's not a pleasurable thing to even say. That's how bad the delusion is. But it's true and therefore needs to be said because it's the truth. It's what I see and know it's true. Who can understand or comprehend what has not literally happened yet? That requires faith. Yes, it does. All someone has to do is sneak in one lie, and that'll grow and to completely destroy someone if it's believed continually and not cut off. Any lie from any angle. You could have a shield in front of you, but if someone stabs you in the back, you're going to die. To be on guard at all times, eyes everywhere, like we read in Revelations, all over the body. There's a natural body and there's a spiritual body. Someone's going to poke you in the back. Someone's going to try to slash the back of your neck. Eyes need to be everywhere, spinning around in circles, guarding. But the Creator is our defense and guard, but that's the picture. The shield is the Creator and belief in Him, that He's the protector, the avenger, the judge that sends judgment to all those who try to destroy His people. He'll show it right in front of you in real time. Not supposed to take any pleasure when that happens. You have to watch people destroy themselves for trying to destroy you. That's a burden to carry, knowing that they know not what they do and only are hurting themselves, destroying themselves, thinking that they're destroying you. Messiah's destruction was so that he could be resurrected alive. They didn't destroy him. It's total victory to be destroyed by the beast in the flesh. Without that happening, Messiah never would have resurrected in glory and power to never sleep again. He is alive and lives forevermore. The age of ages to all ages. That's what the beast did to him. Killed him so that he can be made alive. It didn't kill him. It only looks like it's a loss. It only looks like it's no victory. It only looks that way. And what will people believe? Whatever it looks like, the image. And you will have to see and know that that's what they believe about you. And go to sleep every night knowing that they believe falsehood and wickedness on you all the time. And they'll believe that they're right. And they'll believe in pride that everything they do is good and never wrong. Everything they judge falsely about you, they think it's right. And you know it's not. And you can't correct the fool. We read a fool can't be corrected. Maybe give a little truth if that's the right thing to do in that moment. And then that's it. Walk away. If the truth isn't being heard, nothing else can be done. Their heart's hardened. It's the Father's will that their heart's hardened. Then that's it. To go against His will is to start doing evil now. He who believes in me, as the scripture has said, out of his heart will flow rivers of living water. Where? Out of his heart will flow rivers of living water. But this he spoke concerning the Spirit, whom those believing in him would receive, for the Holy Spirit was not yet given, because Yehoshua was not yet glorified. How could this be that it was not even given yet? Were the old covenant saints really filled up with the Father's Spirit according to these words? No. No, there is a separation and a rightly dividing, because these words are not a lie. It was not yet given. Messiah was the only begotten Son in all the world. No one else had the Father's Spirit. No one else did the Father's works. Messiah said so. No one else does these works, he said. Sounds prideful. Sounds prideful to the carnal, prideful mind to speak that truth. It's an abomination to the natural man. All that came before him were robbers, and no one's done the works he's done. Let's find those words right now. John 15:24. He who hates all these things they will do to you. Remember the word that I said to you, a servant is not greater than his master. If they persecuted me, the master, they will, also persecute you. They will. What pre-trib rapture? If they kept my word, they will keep yours also. What kind of word did they keep? Evil words against Messiah. They kept their word on doing evil to him. They will keep yours also. They will. All these things they will do to you for my name's sake, because they do not know him who sent me. Why do they do this? Because they do not know him who sent me. They don't know the Father, though they claim it. You can claim it all they want. This is constantly. That's the proof they don't know him. If I had not come and spoken to them, they would have no sin, but now they have no excuse for their sin. He who hates me hates my Father also. That's a fact. And anyone that hates the true Creator hates Messiah. Anyone who hates the true Messiah hates the Father. If I had not done them, or no one else, if I had not done among them the works which no one else did, they would have no sin. But now they have seen and also hated both me and my Father. And how does Messiah say my Father without also saying my Elohim, my Creator, my God, my Elohim, my Father? How can he say my Father and not also say my Elohim at the same time? So the Father is his Father, but not his God, not his Elohim. He said, my Elohim, your Elohim, my God, your God, as it's commonly said, God. What God are people speaking of in this world? The God of this world, the devil? That's what Messiah taught. You don't know him, but your father is the devil, and his works you will do. You desire to do the lusts of your father. When he says your father, he's speaking of the enemy. Your father, not my father, your father, the enemy, the devil, of whom this world calls God, of which there's many false gods, divided. But this happened that the word might be fulfilled, which is written in their law. They hated me without a cause. And without a cause here, that's an important phrase. You take that out and it's all sin and wickedness. As some critical texts do and try to butcher Messiah's words and take without a cause out and say that that's the truth, that's what should be there, even though it's in scripture with witnesses, Psalm 69:4, and we read without a cause more than once from the Old Testament scriptures, of which he's speaking out of the Father's word, without a cause. There's no righteous cause in heaven. They just do evil because they hate the Creator. There's no cause. The amount of times this experience has happened specifically is astonishing. This is incredibly true without a cause. They hated me without a cause. That's foolishness to this world because they think there's a cause. Why would someone do that? They say they don't know what they're talking about when they say, why would someone do that? They should seek the truth from the Creator and not ask that question out of evil and pride. When the Helper comes, because there is a verse where the critical text says, doesn't say without a cause. So then it's saying that Messiah said, if you hate your brother, no, wait, is it hate? Angry. If you're angry at your brother, you're in danger of that strong judgment. You're in danger of the judgment. Just if you're angry with your brother, there is no correcting that spiritually. That is just simply false and evil. It's not what Messiah said. It's not what he taught. That if you're angry with your brother straight up, you're in danger of the judgment. If you're angry with your brother without a cause, you're in danger of the judgment. Not just angry and that's it, period. Without a cause. It's all the difference in the world. They say that shouldn't be in there because they're wicked, because it's just confusion and mixing, trying to make Messiah to be out a liar and a fool, and the devil knows it because it's stupid and it doesn't make sense and it makes him out to be a liar. That's why they like that. They don't know what they're doing. They don't even know why they like it so much. The corruption, the lie. It's not the only place in Scripture that speaks of doing works without a cause. Did the apostle get angry at Peter? Yeah, he did. So he's in danger of that severe judgment. Just for getting a little angry. Just for getting angry, period. Just for being angry at his brother, Peter. No, he had a cause because Peter was in sin and playing the hypocrite. He had a reason and a righteous reason and cause to be angry, to correct him. Say, why are you playing the hypocrite? It's not a teaching to go out and be angry as often as you can. That's not what it's meaning. Nevertheless, we read, be angry and sin not. Does that mean to never be angry? No, it means to be angry and sin not. Don't sin. If someone's angry, don't sin. It's not never be angry straight up. And if it sounds like that somewhere in his word, it's speaking of the wicked anger, man's wrath, man's anger. That never leads to good. There is a good way to be angry and sin not. When man's angry of himself, apart from the Father Spirit, it's always sin. That's the anger it's speaking of, the evil. It has to be discerned whether it's the natural or the spiritual first, whether it's of good or evil first, before, and it's shutting down. Oh, again. Completely forgot my battery. Died. Had to wait till the phone boots up again. Which I actually don't mind, I guess. I mean, not doing it on purpose, but I guess the stopping point kind of just gets told to me then that way. You are my friends if you do whatever I command you. John 15:14. That is a big if. You are my friends if you do whatever I command you. Who? 12 disciples long ago and that's it? No, that's not true. Not true, church world, not true world. Many scriptures, many teachings that speak this truth. No, not just for 12, as if the Father's partial, extreme partiality. Messiah is in heaven. What that's like, I don't know. Because we can't comprehend or have never seen something, therefore it's false. Just start making everything be done away with, which is to masquerade as wisdom. Just make it disappear and be nothingness, and that's wise nothingness. Or should someone say they don't know and speak truth? How can we know exactly what that's like to never have experienced that or done that specific thing? I don't know what the power of that, what this looks like for Messiah, but it's the truth. He is not dead and he's in heaven, and the communication is through faith in spirit. That's the only way faith works anyways, because otherwise it wouldn't be faith if it wasn't in spirit, because then you would see and you would literally hear, and seeing is not faith. Hearing literally like that, as we read with Thomas, blessed is the one who believes and does not see. But Thomas had to see to believe. That's not wisdom. That's what the worldly wisdom is. It thinks that's wise. I'll see it when I believe it. That's not faith. That's foolish. It's not faith. No blessing for the one that sees because believes because they see. No blessing. Can't see how big it is, how purposeful and how important it is, faith, why it's important, why it's so, why it's the way it is, why did he make it this way? With faith being the heart of it, faith in the Creator without seeing. Where do we read that because it's so like this now that we will never see? We'll never see Messiah, we'll never see things to come. Don't read that anywhere. No, I don't. Nevertheless, someone can't pretend like they know what they've never seen or experienced and then judge and base it off of their lack of any faith and then say that something isn't true because they don't see it. Nope, and mark that and put an X on someone's forehead because that's not likely a believer that's doing that work. Like the apostle says, note that person, mark them, because something's not right there. Be wary, be aware, be on guard, because if they're not a believer, they're out to destroy you. Because it can only steal, kill, and destroy. That just is all man can do of the wrath of the devil, doing his own wicked works. Can only be at enmity and war with the Father's people, only to seek your destruction and plant seeds of faithlessness in hopes that it will grow into the full fruit of corruption and wickedness, which is the faithlessness that they are themselves and have no faith themselves. Forever better to say I don't know something than start lying and making things up and twisting the truth, corrupting it and destroying others. How much evidence does someone want anyways? The whole entire creation is speaking the Creator's truth with power, let alone any of the Creator's actual works in spirit and all his signs and wonders and miracles and power to be seen in spirit. The creation itself is testifying that he is true and his word is true and everything about him is true that it speaks of. With power, it's been created. With great proof in front of everyone, it's been created. It's right in everyone's face. They look up and the heavens are perfect, literally perfect. A literal perfect time clock of which man even uses spitefully, for his own ways, for his own gain, for his own masquerading in wisdom, jealous of the creator, that they're not the creator and don't have the wisdom he has, filled up with envy against the creator because they're not wise at all, because they're stupid and envious constantly, even of the creator himself, as the devil himself is envious against the creator, wants to be the creator, is not the creator, is the false Elohim, the Elohim of this wicked world, but no Elohim in truth and reality, can do nothing that the Father determines, cannot do nothing against what the Father determines, only allowed to do whatever he allows for a testing and a judgment. The enemy can do no more than whatever the creator himself allows the enemy to do. Nobody is above his power and his position. He is the creator of all things. Nobody is above him. The enemy himself is not even remotely near that height. In a bottomless pit, on the contrary. It's a massive delusion to think it has power. Even that carnal power that has been given. Otherwise, it wouldn't even have that. And whatever power man thinks he has, that itself has been given. Otherwise, he wouldn't even have that unless it was given and allowed by the Creator for them to be a mayor, a president, a king of the earth, like we read that no one believes. That no one believes save a few. That even the powers that be and the way this world is running is part of the Father's plan and will, and we're not supposed to rebel in a wicked way against it, but we are supposed to rebel against actual evil and actual sin, which has nothing to do with being a crazy lunatic rebelling and doing evil on the street. But that's wise to people. That will get attention, that will get fame, that's the wrath that they want to pour out. And that's what man will call wisdom, is to be a rebellion. On the 13th year they rebelled, we read somewhere. We go to Genesis 13:13. The number of rebellion. But the men of Sodom were exceedingly wicked and sinful against Jehovah. The rebellion right there. Genesis 13:13. What apostle replacing Judas, the 13th? Because Judas was of the wicked one, a fake, a fraud, wasn't a disciple truly, but masqueraded for a time as a disciple. Must be, will be separated, cannot last very long, and even whatever lasted was only because it was allowed for a testing on believers to see what we do to Judas. Judas is going to be separated and judged, and we have to do what's right, and it's going to be a destruction for Judas. Don't want Judas doing that. Don't do that. Don't destroy yourself. When someone looks excited to go out of their way to show how much they want to keep the Father's way and be a disciple of Messiah, there's a problem, because nobody does that of truth. Because the true disciples didn't choose Messiah, just like he said to their face, you didn't choose me. I chose you to bear fruit, to produce good fruit. You did not choose me. Messiah walked around and chose his disciples. He's doing the same today, doing it the same yesterday, today, tomorrow. Judas goes out of his way to be a disciple. Something's already off for wanting that so badly. Please take me in. I got these skills. I can do this or that. if you accept me as a disciple. That's already a bad sign, because someone's needing to masquerade how much they love Messiah, love truth, so that they can get in, so that they can then from get in to destroy within and destroy everyone. That's what Judas's intention was from the beginning. What happened in the end? His guts came out. There was no life in him. His inward parts came out, splattered on the ground. That's right. That's pretty brutal image. It's a strong judgment is what that's teaching, to do what Judas did. Don't do that, is what we need to want for enemies, is not to want them not to do evil. Nevertheless, the evil is being done, and it's going to be done. Messiah didn't want the Pharisees to do evil. They did it anyways. Didn't get what he wanted. Not my will, but your will be done, is what he prayed and believed and did. Not just said, but did the works. So we're not going to get what we want. Has to go his way, has to be his things, his way, his testing, his answers, his truth. Not ours, because anyone that seeks to their own glory is against the Father and hates him. Anyone who seeks to do their own glory and will and seeks the glory of others for themselves is doing evil, is false, is in and of the world in reality, is of the enemy in reality, masquerading as a believer, as a disciple. Judas doesn't help anyone in reality. He doesn't save anyone through the Father's way, of which he is the one that's doing the real saving through his people. Judas doesn't save anyone. Someone that's destroyed can't help anyone else. Someone that's blind can't lead the blind when they're blind themselves. If they try, they're just going to stumble and make everyone that follows them stumble and fall in a ditch. And once Humpty Dumpty can't get back up. That's why people laugh at that, because it's them. They can't get back up from where they've fallen. That is the image of what man's heart is. He's fallen and he can't get back up. That's why he screams he has free will, to try and cover and hide all that truth, that he can do nothing and has no free will, no power. His rebellion isn't working. The judgment's coming back on people anyways for sin, and they can't stop it. It's not working. Let there be no strife between you and me, and between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we are brethren. Wonder why we read that. Please separate from you, me, separate from me. Is this not whole land before it? If you take the left, then I will go right, or if you go to the right, then I will go to the left. So then there a little bit of space is needed, but not to cause strife between you and me and my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we are brethren. You do need a little bit of room to plow the land. There's a way to do it without being divided and doing evil to each other. Nobody wants to do it. Nobody can do it. They want strife and division and murder and hatred. Always being divided upon divisions upon divisions. Wolves only attack to separate and cause scattering. That's their goal. It's the intention of a wolf. It doesn't know what it's doing. It's all it can do. It's its job. Wouldn't be any sheep without wolves. Wouldn't be sheep sent out to the slaughter without wolves. Then they will cry to Yehoshua, but he will not hear them. I just clicked randomly wherever the mouse came on in chat. They will cry to Yehoshua, but he will not hear them. He will even hide his face from them at that time, because they have been evil in their deeds. Malachi 3:4. Thus says Jehovah concerning the prophets who make my people stray. Amazing. Just clicking randomly, just talking about division and scattering. Just landed on it. Even through the computer, he makes it work. Instead of opening randomly. Concerning the prophets, false prophets, who make my people stray, who chant peace. He's just speaking about that too. Claiming peace, claiming all these good things, while they chew with their teeth, but who prepare war against him, who puts nothing into their mouths, doesn't feed them in reality, but doesn't look like it, acts like it, sells that. Preparing for war. Therefore you shall have night without vision. Yes, they just got done celebrating New Year's with some bangs, engines revving, a bunch of noise in the middle of the night, in the middle of winter, and death, darkness, calling it a new day and a new year, a double blinding. Therefore you shall have night without vision, and you shall have darkness without divination. The sun shall go down on the prophets, and the day shall be dark for them. So the seers shall be ashamed, and the diviners abashed. Indeed, they shall all cover their lips, for there is no answer from Elohim, not in reality, not in truth. They can't acknowledge this right here. That's kept secret. Their heart knows this somewhere deep down inside. There's no answer. They can never say this, because that would expose them. But truly I am full of power by the Spirit of Jehovah, and of justice and might, to declare to Jacob his transgression, and to Israel his sin. Hear this, you heads of the house of Jacob, and rulers of the house of Israel, who abhor justice and pervert all equity. Build upon Zion with bloodshed, and Jerusalem with iniquity. Her heads judge for a bribe, and her priests teach for pay, and her prophets divine for money. Yet they lean on Jehovah and say, is not Jehovah among us? No harm can come upon us. Therefore, because of you, Zion shall be plowed like a field. Jerusalem shall become heaps of ruins, and the mountains of the temple like the bare hills of the forest. You instruct the brethren in these things, you will be a good minister of Yehoshua Messiah, nourished in the words of faith and of the good doctrine, not false doctrine, which you have carefully followed. Reject profane and old wives' fables, and exercise yourself toward Elohimliness. For bodily exercise profits little, but godliness, Elohim, is profitable for all things, having promise of the life that now is, and of that which is to come. That now is, and that of which is to come. This is a faithful saying and worthy of all acceptance. For this to end, we both labor and suffer reproach, because we trust in the living Elohim, who is the Savior of all men, especially of those who believe. I think I said something about that in the beginning. These things command and teach. Who's doing this? Command and teach these things, that he's the Savior of all. Let no one despise your youth, but be an example to the believers in word and conduct, in love and spirit and faith and purity. Give attention to reading, to exhortation, to doctrine. Do not neglect the gift that is in you, which was given to you by prophecy with the laying on of hands of the eldership. Meditate on these things. Give yourself entirely to them. Your progress may be evident to all. Take heed to yourself and to the doctrine. Continue in them. For in doing this, you will save both yourself and those who hear you. These are the ones who were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are the ones who follow the Lamb wherever he goes. These are were redeemed from among men, being first fruits to Elohim and to the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no deceit, for they are without fault before the throne of Elohim. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are those who keep the commandments of Elohim and the faith of Yehoshua. Blessed are the dead who die in the Master from now on. Yes, says the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors and their works follow them. The winepress was trampled outside the city, that judgment. And blood came out of the winepress up to the horses' bridles for 1,006 furlongs. The judgment. I think that's going to be it. Divided the light from the darkness. He called the light day, darkness he called night. The world can't even do that. Can't do that right. New day starts at midnight, and the earth is a spinning globe. Spinning in destruction, confused and dizzy, upside down. Spinning, spinning, spinning. In unrest and moving all the time, always moving, never ceasing to move and be in unrest. Day and night they have no rest that worship the image of the beast. It's the number of man. His number is 666. When was man created? Day 6. Saw everything I made, and indeed it was very good. So the evening and the morning were the 6th day. They will fight against you, but they shall not prevail against you, for I am with you, says Jehovah, to deliver you. From what? From all evil, from all attacks, from all sin, from all death, from all enemies. I will utter my judgments against them concerning all their wickedness, because they have forsaken me, burned incense to other Elohims, and worshipped the works of their own hands. That's going to be it. All right. Well, it's a new year's for the world. 2023. Lots of failed resolutions to come, I think. Unable to change that heart. It just keeps on sinning, keeps on doing the same thing over and over, and waxes even worse. Looking away from the only truth that there is, trying every other possible way except the only way that works, the only way that exists, the narrow gate, the one door that leads to the Father is through Messiah, through denial of self. Every other way doesn't work. It does nothing, doesn't change anyone, it doesn't work for any good. There's no power in these other gods. They are, in reality, no gods. No gods. You shall have no other gods, Elohim, before me. Make no covenant with them. No molten gods for yourself. Jehovah has given a command concerning you. Your name shall be perpetuated no longer. Out of the house of your gods I will cut off the carved image and the molded image. I will dig your grave, for you are vile. Cast their gods into the fire, for they were no gods, but the work of men's hands, wood and stone. Therefore they have destroyed. Hath a nation changed their gods, which yet are no gods, but my people have changed their glory for that which doth not profit. Shall a man make gods unto himself, and they are no gods? Galatians 4:8. Howbeit then when King James Version, you Elohim, you did not service unto him them which by nature are no gods, not to turn to the weak and beggarly elements, and desiring to be in bondage again. Please take care, seek truth from above.